Okay, so for the topic that we chose for our lesson, it is multiplying whole numbers. My name is Olalis.
I'm Gina.
I'm Chua.
And I am Tina.
Okay, so for our Common Core standard, we focus on fourth grade, and we chose the standard number 5, which is multiply a whole number of up to 4 digits by a one-digit whole number, and multiply two-digit numbers using strategies based on place value and the properties of operations. Illustrate and explain the calculations by using equations, rectangular arrays, and or area models.
Okay, so for day one, so what instruction or the teacher can do first is in order to present this module, then they can let students know that multiplication is basically repeated addition, and the main focus for today's lesson is multiplying two-digit numbers to one-digit number. So to start off, what the teacher can do is by handing out a 1-minute multiplication worksheet. It will be on slide 4. And then after the time's up, timing the students on completing the worksheet, teachers can go over the answers with them and then have them turn it in for a participation point. Next, there's another worksheet, and then this one the teacher is just for the teachers. She or he will be introducing area model to the students, and then um the teachers can do like 3 to 4 problems with them, just so they have like an understanding of what area model is. And then the next worksheet is we do this one, the teacher will have to pass out that worksheet to the students, and the teachers will do 3 problems together with the students. And then afterwards, students will be able to complete the worksheet by themselves or with a partner and turn it in for points. Next, there's the last worksheet. Um, Teacher will pass out that worksheet, and then students will be able to work on it with the partner by themselves or in groups to complete the worksheet. And if they're not done by the end of the lesson, students will have to take that worksheet home for homework. And then this is the worksheet that I was talking about from the previous slide. This is the warm-up. So teacher will pass this out for the students to do. And then students are given 1 minute to solve these these multiplication problems. And then after that, the teacher can go over it with the answers just to make sure that students are getting their answers correct and see that they know their multiplications or not. And then this is the next worksheet that the teacher will be doing with the students. This is I do, so this is just introducing the area model with this to the students. So to start off, area model is just like drawing a square or a box and then writing a number on top and on the side and multiplying them, and afterwards just adding them and all that. So this is just like an example of area model. And then the teachers can go over like all 4 of these, teach the students with them, just so students can have an understanding of what area model is. And on the right side over here, it is the answer keys. So teachers will be able to check the work with that. And then this is we do. Um, this is where the teacher will pass out this assignment to the students, and then teachers and students will be working on this together. So the teacher will do around 3 problems with the students, just so students can get a hang of what area model is. So again, this is just 2 digit times 1 digit, so it shouldn't be as hard because this is the first day of the lesson. So yeah. And then on the right side over here, it's the answer sheet. So the teacher will be able to check her work with the answer sheets, or like students work with the answer sheet as well. And then when completed, students will just turn this in for participation points. And then this is you do. So this is where the students will just be doing it by themselves with a partner or in a group. And then by the end of the lesson, if students aren't done yet or didn't complete the assignment yet, they will have to take it home for homework and then turn in the next day for participation points.
So then for day 2, the teacher, he or she will do a 10 minutes reviewing of day 1 just to go over, have students ask questions if they're confused or need help on the double digits and the box method. And then we'll do another 20 minutes teaching of the double digits again and the box method just to go more in depth of different ways to find the answer of the problem. And then we'll do another 10 minutes of group practice. We will provide the worksheets and we'll have the students work with their group or individual. And then we'll do another 10 minutes reviewing today's lessons and just to go over it, and then maybe tomorrow too. And then we'll have another 5 minutes talking about the mathematical practice. Just any question that the students may have some concern.
Okay, so for some of the mathematical practices that we are hitting during our lesson plan here, we are hitting number 4, which would be model with mathematics. So we are hitting this by using area models to help students understand how to multiply with whole numbers, whether it be 1 digit or 2 digits. We are also looking at number 7, which is look for and make use of structure, which again refers back to the box method and the area models. Students will be able to show their work and see and how where they could possibly make mistakes and how they're getting their answers.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about box models so far for this lesson, and I thought it would be a good idea to discuss some common mistakes students make and how to fix them. So the first mistake is getting incorrect partial products. So oftentimes what they'll do with these area models is they'll multiply wrong, so their final product comes out wrong. Um, and we see this here in my first example, 53 times 4. We see that the student did 50 times 4 equals 20, and 4 times 3 equals 12. And then they added those final products. 20 plus 12 equals 32. But we see that this isn't right. We know that actually 50 times 4 is 200 and 3 times 4 is 12. So 20 plus 12 is 212, which is very different than 32. So it is very important just to make sure that students are doing each individual part correctly, because if they don't do it each individual part correctly, it messes up the whole. Uh, in a similar vein, we have incorrectly breaking down the multiplicand or multiplier. So to do the area model correctly, it requires you to break the multiplicand or the multiplier down into basically expanded form. And sometimes kids don't fully grasp that. So they'll, in this example, 240 times 7, they'll say, okay, the 2 goes here and the 40 goes here, but that isn't the format. So if you add 2 plus 4 to 40 together, 2 plus 40 together, it equals 42, not 240. So we see here that that gets you the wrong answer, right? So it is important that they break it down properly. So it should be 200 plus 40. So it is 200 times 7 equals 400, or excuse me, 1400. 40 times 7 is 280. And then you get 1400 plus 280 equals 1680. So again, very different answers, and it's important that we check that. And the final mistake students often do is they incorrectly add up the partial products. So they'll they'll do the multiplication perfectly to get the partial products, but when they added the partial products together into the final product, it's wrong. So we see here in this example, 60 times 7 is 420. 7 times 7 is 49. They got that right. 420 plus 49 equals 459. And here we see that 60 times 7 is 420, and 7 times 7 is 49. But they add it wrong. So they do 459 and not 469. So it is just important that they slow down. Oftentimes, this is a result of sloppy mistakes. Students aren't taking their time, and they mess it up. So the best way to fix all of these mistakes is just to encourage your students to slow down.
Okay, so how are we implementing a growth mindset? So there are various ways to implement a growth mindset throughout the lessons. Some ways that really stood out to me were encouraging, understanding, and normalizing struggles amongst the students. So for understanding, it is important to understand that not every student is the same. They're not at the same level. They're not at the same pace. Um, Students will make mistakes, but it is up to us to help them each step of the way. We must establish that mistakes are just that, they're mistakes. We can learn from them and fix them so that the next time we try again, you're not making the same mistakes. Another one would be, which I think is kind of the biggest way to implement a growth mindset, which is encouraging. So, for example, encouraging students to keep trying even after they've have failed, encouraging students to work together in groups to bring various ideas to the table, and encourage them to work amongst each other and help each other out with certain areas that they're struggling with. It is also important to normalize struggle amongst the students. As a teacher, it is important to emphasize that struggle is normal. You're not meant to understand something from the first try. There will be various students that get stuck on certain methods we are trying to explain, and it is up to us to help them understand that struggling is part of the learning process. With struggling, it means that you're learning. You're learning new things by asking for help. And yeah. And then we just wanted to end off the lesson by giving them a quote to help them, which would be never say I can't, always say I'll try, which is something big, I feel like, for students amongst learning math. And then that'll be all for our lesson plan.